example, if this is a conductor, okay, there is 20 volts here, okay, and there is 0 volts here, right? So in your electrostatics, what we have learned is when there is a 20 volts here and 0 volts here, the charge will go in this direction, isn't it? Charge will go from higher potential to lower potential, isn't it? So when charge is moving, can you clearly say, sir, there is only one electron going? No, there is a bunch of electrons going. Correct? There is a bunch of electrons going in a area, given area. If this area is, let me say, delta A, okay, and there is a bunch of electrons going from here, which is your P, to S. In this case, you have to give some quantity, okay, to tell that there's a bunch of electrons moving from one point another point in some area. And current, if you look at current, it's a scalar quantity. So we will define a vector quantity to tell the direction of current, and that is called as your current density. And that is called as your current density small g. And that is called as your current density small j. So the current density small j is given as which is di divided by dA, okay, which is di divided by dA, where A is your small area in which your charge delta Q is passing over time delta T. Clear? Any doubt in this? Right. Now, below put note, the direction of the current density, is in the same direction as your current movement of is same direction of your current.
So can you please repeat, sir?
The direction of current density is same as the direction of your current. So current density is a vector quantity. Current density is a vector quantity and the units are ampere per meter square. Ampere per meter square. Okay. See, so J is equal to di divided by dA. From this, di is equal to J into dA. Correct? So if you are integrating on both sides from 0 to I and from 0 to A, what you will get?
Is equal to J dot J.
It will be
I equals to J dot J.
So I will be equal to integral J dA. Now, see, if this is your area in which your charge delta Q is going. So we have known in your Gauss law, the area vector is also called as area normal vector.
Yes.
So for this, the area vector is like this, isn't it? Now, for example, I take an area, something like this, and the current is going in this direction. So your area vector will be like this.
Yes, sir.
So if this is theta, this will be dA cos theta.
Yes, sir.
So I clearly said your J is in the direction of your current. So dA should also be in direction of current. In this case, can I say your J is equal to dI divided by dA cos theta? Right? So if somebody asks you, what is your current? Is it a vector quantity or is it a scalar quantity? You will not use your formula Q by T. Okay. You will say, see, your current density is a vector quantity. The current density direction is in the direction of current. So in direction of current, I will be taking your area normal vector. When I take your area normal vector, from this my di will become j into dA cos theta, right? Or I is nothing but j dot A, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
So it's a dot product. Current is a dot product of your current density and area. Okay. Current is a dot product of your current density and area. That's why your current is a scalar quantity. It is not a vector quantity. Clear? Any doubt in this? Sir, what you said is fantastic. Charge is moving, you said current density, everything. Now what I want to know is, in electric fields, you said when there is a charge, the electric field is like this, and we have studied your electric field is equal to k cube by r square, sir. Now what I'm interested is, now the charge is moving, how does your electric field change? Correct? If the charge is at this point, we said the electric field is like this, like this, like this in 360 degrees. But this guy right now, the moment you look like this and you look like this, charge has went by this distance. Right? So then how does your electric field change? Or else, so charge is going, so charge should go with some velocity, no? If it is going with some velocity, with velocity, is there any relation for electric field? Or with the time, is there any relation for electric field? Or with current or current density, is there any relation between your electric field? Now, this is what we are going to study. Okay? The effect of electric field, or how does your electric field change when your charge is moving from one point to another point? Okay? For that, we are going to introduce some terms called as drift velocity. Okay, now you don't ask me what is drift velocity. Take it as Vd. The velocity with which the charge will move from one point to another point is called as drift velocity. Now, drift velocity and your this semiconductors also will actually in detail talk about your drift velocity. Okay. So the velocity with which the charge will flow from one point to another point with respect to time is called as your drift velocity. And then we call something as relaxation time, which is called as tau. We'll give it as tau. Okay, now see how I'm going to develop the method. See, if I take a space, okay, now since we are talking about your movement of electron, let me talk about your conductors. Because conductors will have free electrons which can move from your valence to conduction band and all that, right? So see, when charge is there in the conduction band, and now this charge is moving, okay? It moves. It will hit the end of a crystal lattice. Conductors are basically metals, and metals will have lattice structure, isn't it? It can be simple, it can be body, it can be phase, it can be hexagonal, tetragonal, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you study lattice structures?
Yes, sir.
So this goes and hits some lattice edge of a lattice structure, right? So it goes and hits like this. It will move in this direction. It can go in this direction, right? Now it will go in this direction. It will hit another electron or the end of a lattice structure, anything. It will again change its direction. Will hit this. Will hit this. Will go like this. Hit this. Go like this. Hit. So the electron will be randomly moving in the given space. So when the electron goes like this, hits, attains some velocity, hits. The time taken between two successive collisions, is called as your relaxation time. Okay. And since this electron is going with some speed and hitting the surfaces, this is called as your drift velocity. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Now, for example, if I take this distance as L, okay, I'm saying the electron has started here, it went like this, has hit here, right? And again went like this, has hit here. So it is going on hitting like this. So why I'll take the total length? It has traveled a length L before hitting, okay? Then what will be your drift speed? It will be L by tau.
L by tau.
Right? Sir, you are cheating, sir. You told us you will get a relation with drift velocity and electric field. You are getting me the relation between L and tau. First year kinematics you are teaching. What is this, sir? Let this be equation 1. Right? Now, see, when a charge is moving from one point to another point, what will be the acceleration? QE by M.
Yes, sir.
So L is equal to half A tau square. So it will be half QE by M into tau square.
Yes, sir.
Let it be equation 2. Now this 2 I'll substitute in 1. So VD will be equal to half QE by M into tau.
Yes, sir.
You got a relation between drift velocity and electric field. Now,
Yes.
if you see, your drift velocity is proportional to your electric field. If electric field is high, your drift velocity will be more, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
If electric field is less, your drift velocity will also be
Decrease.
less. So how is it possible, sir? I just don't understand this concept. If electric field is high, why should your drift velocity be high? Don't worry, we will learn it in your nuclear physics. Modern physics, at that time you will study, and your why dual nature of matter and radiation also I'll tell. Okay? Why your speed increases when your electric field increases. Clear? Any doubt in this? Until this you have understood? Right? Hello?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So below that you write it down. VD is directly proportional to electric field and VD is directly proportional to your relaxation time. Or else you can also call relaxation time as your average collision time. Okay? Both are synonyms only. Average collision time. Okay? Now tell me, if your velocity increases, what happens to your average collision time?
Decreases.
Please don't tell increases. Huh? Sir, you told VD is equal to half QE by M into tau, no? Now if VD increases, tau should increase. No. When your velocity is, say for example, you are in the room. Okay? Now you are running, hitting that wall, coming back, hitting this wall. Now I told, no, you hit faster. Then you run faster and you hit this wall and then come back. So your time is reducing between your successive collisions. So you shouldn't use this relation, okay?
Yes, sir.
Clear? Now, from this, if my average collision time, if I take it as a constant, can I say this whole thing will be VD is equal to some constant into electric field? Right?
Yes, sir.
Average collision time also I'm taking it as constant.
Yes, sir.
Tomorrow you have a meeting. Okay. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. you have a meeting. Now, drift velocity is equal to some constant into electric field. Sir, okay. But you said what also do the relationship between drift velocity and current density? Because one electron will not go, a group of electrons will go, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Will one charge go when you give an electric field go? A group of electrons will go. So when a group of electrons will go, how do I give my drift velocity to that group of electrons? Right? So let us take of electrons per unit volume as small n. Okay. number of electrons per unit volume, I take a small l. Now, unlimited area A, this area considered is A. Okay. Now, let's say that electrons which are going in this. Clear? Now, tell me that they are going to velocity V is the velocity. Okay. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Assume get to the oxygen. Delta resistance in delta T time. Therefore, the total charge passing through volume A to delta L is equal to delta Q. So delta Q will be how much? Yes. This is called N. E. What is your DP? But delta L do you know? You don't know. So it will be N E A D T to delta T. Yes. The charge entering in a given volume is NADD delta T. Therefore, current passing to the given volume is I is equal to delta Q divided by delta T. And VD goes into your formula. Now you got your current passing to the given volume I. What is your current density? I divided by area, so it will become NED. So the relation between your current density and your shift velocity is NEBD. Clear? Now I'll not stop here. I know my drift velocity is QE by 2m into tau, right? So my current density is NE QE by 2m into tau, right? So NE Q is nothing but NE, isn't it? In that, tell me which are constant first. In that, tell me which are constant.
N E Q M.
You will take it as E. Okay.
So M and
So
tau.
divided by 2m into E. So J is equal to N E squared tau divided by 2m into E.
Yes, sir.
So you have got your relation with your current density, your electric field. Clear? Now also you can say electric field is a vector because current density is a vector because E is a vector. Constant into vector will become a vector. 2i plus 3j. 4 times into 2i plus 3j will also give you a vector. No? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt in this? Now, this n e squared tau divided by 2m until this it is over.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Below that, write it down. N j is equal to sigma into E, which is very important, where sigma is called as electrical conductivity, where sigma is called as electrical conductivity, and sigma depends on the type of or nature of the material. Sigma depends on the nature of the material. Clear? Electrical conductivity, very important. Now we will enter into something called as Ohm's law from here only. If you want to get Ohm's law, it's not simply at a given temperature, the voltage applied is directly proportional to current. No. You will understand why it is. Why is it directly proportional? From here, we'll say that. Clear? So if somebody asks you Ohm's law, derivation, sir, V is directly proportional. I am removing my proportionality constant and placing something called as R, which is called as resistance. If I evaluate your papers, I'll throw you from the 20th floor. To make sure you just, when you fall, you'll crush into pieces. 10th floor means there's some chances that you're still alive. 20th floor, no chances. With what velocity will you fall on the ground?
mg
under root 2gh.
Abba, finally somebody. So this is called as your sigma is called as your electrical conductivity. Okay. So tell me what are the units of your conductivity? Write it down. Hmm? Sigma is equal to J divided by E, isn't it? J is ampere per meter square to electric field
Force by.
voltage divided by meter.
Yes, sir.
Meter gets cancelled. Ampere divided by voltmeter. Right? So this is Simon meter inverse. Yes, is called as your Simon. Somebody will say Siemens, somebody will say Simon, anything is okay. Okay. Because somebody working in SIEME and company, they'll say we are working for Siemens company. Somebody will say Simon. It is called as Da and D. Anything is okay. Okay. So electrical conductivity units are Simon per meter. Clear? Simon is a scientist. He is a scientist. So if somebody asks you to define electrical conductivity, how do you define it? Huh? It is defined as your current density over given electric field. Okay. If your electric conductivity is high, means what does it mean by that?
Charge density will be more.
Huh? What is it, Nikita?
If electric conductivity is high, then the current density will be more and electric field will be less.
Correct. No, it is like this. For a very small electric field, if your current density is high, the conductivity is high. Even for a small external electric field applied, if your more number of charges will go per unit area, then we call that material has high conductivity, electrical conductivity. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Understood? So this is how you interpret your electrical conductivity. For a small electric field applied, more number of charge per unit volume they are going, then we say the conductivity of the material is high. Right? Next, put your heading as resistivity. Resistivity material, which is given as rho. Rho is defined as inverse of conductivity. Rho is defined as inverse of conductivity. Sir, you said you are telling Ohm's law. Nowhere near your Ohm's law, sir. Wait, we'll come to Ohm's law. Don't worry. Okay. So your resistivity is called as inverse of conductivity. So resistivity is also the property of a material. So resistivity means the resistance offered by a body towards the charge of towards the flow of charge. Okay, if your body is resisting to go to flow the charge from it, that is called as your resistivity. Clear?
Yes, sir.
If the material is telling charge, please go to me easily, that is called as conductivity. If you are putting a stop sign and saying all the charge to stop, boss, just wait, then you are resisting it. Okay, so for the insulators, the resistivity is very high and your conductivity is very low. For your metals which are conductors, your conductivity is very high and your resistivity is
Low.
very low. So resistivity of a material is defined as the inverse of conductivity or reciprocal of conductivity, or the resistance offered by the body towards the charge of flow from it, towards charge of flow through it, is called as your resistivity. Now can anybody tell me what are the units of resistivity?
Ohm meter.
Meter per Simon. There will be meter per Simon.
I'll just tell you, wait. Don't tell me all that thing. Okay, so this is E by J. Resistivity is E by J.
Yes, sir.
So E is meter square, volt per meter divided by ampere per meter square. So meter gets cancelled. This will become volt divided by ampere. Volt by ampere is called as
Ohm.
no meter. Don't say meter Simon. Okay. Now see, there are other people who take it as, see, this is ampere per volt, isn't it? This is volt per ampere ohm. This is called as ohms. What I've done is 1 by ohms, they said it as mho, inverse of ohm. So the other unit of your conductivity is mho meter. Clear? See how easy physics is. You all think physics is tough. Inverse means exactly inverse in physics. Easy or not? Now see, Amma, now let's come to Ohm's law. Okay, now that you have all your material which you ready, let's jump into Ohm's law. Now there is a scientist by name Ohm who has studied extensively the relation between your potential and your current. Now see, your J is nothing but sigma into electric field.
Yes.
Yes. Now J is nothing but I divided by area, which is nothing but sigma into electric field is your potential divided by distance. From this, V is equal to into, not into,
di by a
distance
sigma.
by sigma into area into I.
Yes, sir.
But 1 by sigma is resistance. So it will be rho d by A into I.
Yes.
Yes. So rho d by A, generally this distance will take it as length. So V is equal to rho L by A into I. For a given material, if I take a material of, let me say, copper of length L is equal to 100 centimeters and area I have taken it as 10 centimeters square. Okay. And I told you the conductivity of a material depends on your material alone, isn't it? So conductivity for a copper will be same.
Yes, sir.
That means resistivity will be same.
Yes, sir.
So for a given length resistivity, this is a constant.
Yes, sir.
So V is equal to, so from this can I say V is directly proportional to I?
Yes, sir.
So Ohm's law states that at a given temperature for a given material, the applied voltage or the current flowing through that material is directly proportional to the applied voltage. Understood? Ohm's law states that at a given temperature for a given material, your current flowing through the material is directly proportional to your applied voltage. If you draw a graph between your voltage and current, it will be a straight line, isn't it? Yes. Now, this rho L by A, this term which is there, it is called as resistance. So V is equal to I into R, where R is called as your resistance, which rho L by A, and the units of R is voltage by ampere, which is called as ohm, denoted by Greek letter. Clear?
Sir,
Hmm.
sir, in thermodynamics, R is equals to L by Ka we got, sir. So is
It's
there
just
anything?
analogous, yeah, similar to that.
Okay.
If you remember your thermodynamics, we set of the rate of heat flow is Ka by L into delta T. Isn't yes or no? So this we said delta T is equal to L by Ka into delta Q by delta T. If you take this, delta V is equal to R into delta Q divided by delta T. That's why here we said your thermal resistance is equal to L by Ka. And from this we said resistors connected in series and resistors connected in parallel, isn't it? Yes or no? Not only this, where else did we study this? This kind of, oh, I'm gonna break your heads.
Sir, in solid.
Newton's law of cooling.
Huh? Where is it? Fluid mechanics. Capillary tubes connected in series, capillary tubes connected in parallel, pressure and volumes, volume flow rate, volume, flow rate, delta V by delta T, pressure difference. It is like your potential difference. I don't know what you are studying also. Huh? Understood? Understood? Next, put your heading as temperature dependence on resistivity. Next, put your heading as say color temperature dependence of resistivity. Now, can anybody tell me? Don't tell in a unprofessional way. Okay, I'm asking a direct question. Tell me an answer. If temperature increases, what happens to your resistivity?
Increases.
Increases.
Very good. Why?
Because the length, if the Y expands, then the length increases, which is directly proportional to resistance.
When the temperature increases, like the kinetic energy.
Resistivity. Resistance came from resistivity. Resistivity is a mother and resistance is a daughter, let me say. You cannot define characteristics of mother by seeing daughter. You define characteristics of daughter by seeing mother. Understood? So resistance came from resistivity. Resistivity didn't come from resistance. So resistivity came from where?
So the kinetic energy of the particles will increase, so the collisions will increase, and therefore.
Collision increases. So what happens?
So the particles will like.
Good. Go ahead. Collisions increases.
So they have like more resistance in between a small area of space.
No, you have come halfway. Did we define resistivity as an independent variable or as something? How did you define resistivity? If temperature increases, what happens to your conductivity?
It decreases.
Why it will decrease?
Increase because the electrons inside the material gain more kinetic energy.
See your conductivity. See your formula for conductivity. What is your formula for conductivity? N E squared divided by 2m, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
When temperature of the temperature of a material is increased, obviously your collisions increases.
Yes, sir. Tau decreases.
The average time between successive collision decreases.
Yes, sir.
Right? Hence your drift velocity decreases.
Yes, sir.
If your drift velocity increases, your decreases, your conductivity decreases. If your conductivity decreases, your resistivity increases. What?
Yes.
I think there are more of Baddam Bhaskars here. Huh? What is your in terms of VD? NE VD. This is J, no?
Yeah.
J is NEBD,
NEBD.
right? But J is nothing but your sigma into E, right? Sigma into E is equal to NEBD, or sigma is equal to NEBD divided by electric field. Now see, NE by E, if I'm taking constant, can I say your sigma is proportional to your VD? Conductivity is proportional to drift velocity. Now, temperature increases, collisions increases. When collisions increases, tau decreases. When tau decreases, VD increases. So I'm going to throw my laptop outside of the window now. Just 10 minutes before, what you said is, you cannot take a relation of VD and tau from that. We got VD is equal to E squared tau divided by 2m into E. Yes,
Yes,
or
sir.
no? At that time, you told me drift velocity is not take directly proportional. Now you yourself is taking directly proportional. So you are saying here, according to what you said, VD should actually increase when tau is decreasing, because VD is equal to L by
Oh,
tau, right? But now you are saying VD tau decreases and sigma decreases, you are telling. So I'm going to commerce group, I will leave my science group. Yes. Now let's see what is the logic behind it. See, this is the space. Okay. This is your space. Now there is a charge which is here. Now I have given electric field. Of course, when I give you electric field, I given temperature. I put a lighter under this conductor. So temperature is increased. So temperature increases, your thermal agitation increases. Yes, energy is being supplied. No, so obviously electrons will be in more energy, high energy state. So when the electron starts here, energy increases. This guy comes, hits the wall, and then goes back. Right now, when he's going back, by the time this guy comes to maximum velocity, he would have hit another wall. Reaching has a capacity to reach, let me say, speed of light. Okay, to reach that velocity, you are not like, you will start like, you will, whenever you want to come to one velocity, you will start from zero only, right? Or else directly you will, even the Superman, if he is flying, he has to start from initial velocity zero only, and he will not reach speed of the sound the moment he flies. No, he will fly certain distance and then he will reach your greater than, correct? So that means you need certain distance for the speed to increase.
yes, sir.
When you're increasing temperature, are you giving enough time for the charge to increase its speed?
No,
So what happens to your drift velocity?
it decreases.
Now you understood where you will use your VD proportional to tau, and where VD is inversely proportional to tau. So I'm seriously quitting science. I'm going to commerce, because you said physics is very straightforward. This is like turning 10 to 12 U-turns and coming to the same thing. See, that's what I'm telling. Now I'll tell you that this actually increases with temperature. When I go to your semiconductor and devices, I'll tell you resistance decreases with temperature. At that time also, I'll tell you why it happens. They will have certain temperature limits for the statements which I will be giving. Okay. So don't worry if I am telling opposite things, because there is always limits to which we tell you in PU. Okay. The same game told you, you are simply telling line integral E dot ds is equal to q enclosed by epsilon naught, right? When you go to your engineering, you will be getting your Gauss-Euler's equation, Gauss-Laplace equation, okay? Laplace-Pascal's equation. So Laplace and Pascal also gave equation. Yes, they gave equations. If you take your physics, you will be studying all those things. Okay. Laplace Fourier equations. So there are many equations which you will learn in your undergrad courses. So right now, please understand, if anybody asks you the question, thermal agitation increases, why does your conductivity decreases? You tell, boss, you are giving temperature, so obviously you are giving energy to the material. The electron is absorbing the energy. Now this guy has high kinetic energy, but he goes and hits the wall. Then when he comes back, again, if he has to reach high velocities, maximum velocities, he doesn't have enough time, by which time again collision happens. So how is that possible? Now see, this is me. Okay. This is my wife, let me say. Clear? We are obviously, my wife will be turning this way, east and west direction will be turning. Okay. Now, suddenly my kids started doing some nonsense. At that time, your mother and father will come together and they'll scold you, right? So, let me say, right now, you are given some thermal agitation, the temperature is increased. Electrons increases. So, let me say this electron is going in this direction, I direction. Let me say this electron is going in minus I direction. Right? Now, these two electrons came together, they underwent a elastic collision, and obviously they'll change the direction, right? And then change the direction. Let me say this electron came in this direction, is going in this direction. But remember, they are not only one or two or three electrons. No? There are pool of electrons. All pool of electrons will take energy. All pool of electrons will be moving inside randomly. Yes. See, there are thousands of electrons in a given material in conduction band for a metal. So when you give energy, all these 1,000 electrons will be vibrating. They get enough kinetic energy. They start moving. So all these electrons will be moving, coming, hitting this. Then it goes back. Then there's obviously there's another electron which is ready to come and hit this guy, right?
Yes.
That's why drift velocity decreases, because there are pool of electrons which are moving in your direction. Clear? That's why your successive time collision, relaxation time also decreases, because, for example, let me say I came and hit Satyajit. We went in an elastic collision. Satyajit went that direction. I came this direction. Immediately, right behind me, let me say Sumukha is there. So I hit Satyajit. I didn't even have enough time. I just stepped backwards. Sumukha came and hit me. Then again I went sideways. There. Now I have hit Mohit. Now again I was undergoing collision. Then I have come and hit Sanjay Yasa, let me say. So you see, for me, when there is no energy, when the material has no temperature, all of us are sitting happily in equidistant spaces and talking. Now when energy is given, it is the duty of Satyajit to take energy and start moving. It is the duty of me to take energy and start moving. Right? Understood? So obviously your relaxation time, but average collision time decreases, and hence your drift velocity also decreases. Clear? Understood? So when drift velocity decreases, what happens to your conductivity? Hello? Conductivity I have written here, no, decreases.
Decreases.
Conductivity decreases, resistivity.
Increases.
So rho of T is equal to rho of T naught into 1 plus alpha delta T. Okay. Or you can write it as rho is equal to rho naught into 1 plus alpha delta T. Clear? Now we know rho L by A, resistance is rho L by A. So from this, R L divided by A is equal to R naught L divided by A into 1 plus alpha delta T.
R A by L, sir.
Huh?
Rho is equal to RA by L.
Rho is equal to
R into A by L.
What I wrote a mistake. Huh? Resistivity is equal to RA, correct. So R is equal to rho L by A. Yeah. From this, rho is equal to R A by L. Correct. So R A by L is equal to R naught A by L into 1 plus alpha delta T. So this and this gets cancelled. So R is equal to R naught into 1 plus delta T. So temperature increases, what happens to your resistivity?
Increase.
Will increase, which is absolute nonsense when it comes to semiconductors. Okay? Clear?
Yes, sir.
So just go through your notes. I'm just drawing some graph. Superconductor. draw this graph. See, I'm taking a lot of time to explain the concepts and everything. If I'm given other sections by this time, half of your electrical current electricity would have been over. Alpha coefficient of linear expansion. Alpha is coefficient of resistivity. Okay. Alpha is coefficient of resistivity. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Over.
Yes, sir.
Shall we go to the next concept?
So you said alpha is coefficient of resistivity.
Alpha is coefficient of resistivity.
Okay.
Now, the next topic is EMF of a cell. EMF is called as your electromotive force. EMF is called as your electromotive force, but it's not a force. The units of EMF is also potential, volt only. Okay. So what do I mean by electromotive force? See, when you take a new battery, so for example, your TV remotes are they're not working. You asked to get a battery, so you got a Duracell AAA battery. Okay, he must have told you 6 volts, 10 volt, 11 volt battery, right? So if you take a battery, there is a knob on the top, isn't it? On one side, and then it's like a little in a concave surface on the other side, right? So now see, this battery, when you bought it new battery, inside there is something called as your electrolyte. Okay, and this will be a positive terminal of the battery, and this will be a negative terminal of a battery, right? So EMF is defined as the potential between the terminals of the cell when there is no current coming out of the cell, ideal condition. Clear? So now you say after some time you have used this battery, automatically the power of the battery keeps on reducing, isn't it? Yes or no? So that means the electrolyte is getting depleted and your battery capacity, the maximum potential terminals of the battery will be decreasing. Hence your EMF will be decreasing. So slowly your batteries will become dead after some time. Clear? Understood? Take down EMF of a cell. EMF of a cell. EMF is the maximum potential difference. EMF is maximum potential difference. EMF in brackets, take it as epsilon. Take it as epsilon. Maximum potential difference. Maximum potential difference between the two electrodes of the cell. Between two electrodes of the cell. When the circuit is in open. When circuit is open. When the circuit is open. Clear? Second point. EMF is independent of resistance in the circuit. So if there is a resistance in the circuit, it does not depend on the resistance. So if you put 1,000 ohm, if you put 2,000 ohm, 10,000 ohm also, your EMF will not change. Okay. It is greater than potential difference. It is greater than potential.
Always, sir.
Huh?
It is always greater than potential.
It is greater than potential difference between any 2 points in the circuit. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Understood? So EMF is basically related to something inside a source of that electric current. Okay? Understood? Next, put your heading as internal resistance of a cell. Put your heading as internal resistance of the cell. Smaller. Okay, if anything I'm on leave, Satyajit can take the physics class now. Yes, Satyajit. The opposition to the flow of current, between the two terminals inside a cell, between the two terminals inside or a battery. Okay, So see, this is a positive terminal, and let me say this is a negative terminal. Okay. So now I'll tell you, don't get confused. Okay. Inside the battery, the charge will go from negative to positive. Inside the battery, the charge will go from positive to negative. Clear? In essential, outside the circuit, charge will go from negative to positive. Anytime charge will always go from negative to positive only. But for this chapter, for current electricity, inside the cell, the charge will go from negative to positive. Outside the circuit, the charge will go from positive to negative. So the direction of current is always from positive terminal to negative terminal outside the circuit, and inside the cell, it is always from negative to positive. Clear? So when charge is going from negative terminal to positive terminal, there is since there is a material, electrolyte material will offer some resistance for this flow of charge. So that is called as your internal resistance of a cell. Clear? Any doubt?